What's up, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mark T.D. Holland, Esquire.
And I am your other host, Raven Ellis.
And together, we are Nerd for No Reason.
Pew, 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 pew. Bro. Were you also air guitar riffing? Were you actually doing it? Were you doing the movement?
Oh, of course I was. You can't go biddly 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 without doing the arm movement.
God bless. Just making sure.
I like legitimately act out whenever I like intro wise or whatever. Like I am in here fist pumping, you know, getting it on while I'm in here. So
I feel like that's what people see from me when I'm like legitimately jamming in my car. Because I am not a big like hand movement person. But bro, I don't know if you have heard Kesha's new song, Good God, I love it, and I will literally put it on like 10 times on repeat. But my hands be flailing in my car.
Yeah, I listened to it last week after we talked about it. We got off the show, and as I was cutting up that, as I was cutting up the episode, I started listening to it.
All right. Is it a bop?
It's a bop, man. It's
straight
great.
Bop. Man, I love it so much. How you been doing, man? What you got going on?
I mean, same old, I guess. Work's been working, and let's see. I went to the movies Friday, which was great, except, you know, prices be pricing.
Did you see Deadpool?
Yeah, I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. And
nice.
Without giving too much away, it's great. It's fun. I thought it for sure that it was gonna like do this because the trailers kind of bill it as, oh, we're gonna reset the MCU, and they don't really do that. It is strictly a Deadpool and Wolverine story, and it is. I will say, for the amount of cameos and secrets and special appearances that they were able to get that were not leaked is incredible.
Dude, that's always the best. Ugh. So, Chris and I thought about seeing it, but we just ended up not doing it. So we'll probably go next weekend. As soon as it like came out on Thursday, he was a wreck at work. Because of course everything was like blowing up and just like nothing working. So he was
yeah.
Bro, fuck this Deadpool movie even though I want to see it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, apparently it broke a bunch of records. It's the highest grossing R-rated movie ever. It made $438 million this weekend worldwide. Which is probably the biggest opening pre-COVID. I dare say, like, this is the first legitimate like blockbuster we've had.
Yeah.
And you know, it's good, man. It's good. It's a good fun movie, and Hugh Jackman is absolutely, I think this besides Logan. Like, Logan was the movie they always wanted to make. This was the fun movie that Hugh Jackman wanted to make for years and years before he got to do Logan. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, like, you can tell that he's having an absolute ball with this movie. And, yeah, it's great.
Good for him. And then Ryan Reynolds is, of course, you know.
Oh, yeah, he's well, I mean...
fucking it up like he always do.
Right.
God bless that man.
So, all right. And at the same time, Comic-Con is going on this weekend, too.
Comic-Con.
We've got a few trailers come out this weekend. We've got the first trailer for James Gunn's Creature Commandos, which is an animated show, which supposedly is going to be the first part of this new DCU that's coming out. I mean, it honestly looks like Suicide Squad, but with crazier creatures.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
You know, I'm okay with it. It looks fun. I mean, it's got like your standard cast of crazy zany characters with Alan Tudyk. So there's no doubt in my mind it's going to be fun. The biggest thing to come, like, this is what I woke up to this morning, was I wake up and the first thing I do is fire up Reddit and read through news stories, and the first thing I saw was the Russo brothers are coming back to direct Avengers 4 and 5, and I was like, cool, that's great. And then right below it, Raven, you don't know this, so I want to get your genuine reaction. New Avengers title is going to be called Avengers Doomsday, with Doctor Doom as the antagonist of that set, or as the antagonist of that film. Guess who's playing Doomsday? Robert Downey Jr.
What?
Yes.
Ooh. Bro, they kill him off just to bring him back on.
Dude.
My man is out here like, please give me a crumb of the Marvel.
I am so dumbstruck by this.
This is kind of crazy, yeah.
We don't know if this is going to be like, an evil Tony Stark, or if he's even going to like be an actor without his mask on, like if he's going to do like a Doctor Doom without his mask, or what. I don't know. No one knows. But honestly, there was like 1,000 other actors they could have picked, because we have killed Robert Downey Jr. off. We cried at the end of Endgame. We have mourned this character's death. We cannot bring him back.
Oh my gosh.
So
this is crazy.
I don't know how to take this information.
All right. Well, I really hope that they give nothing, absolutely nothing away about his character in any of the previews. And then people just go into the movie and go, what the fuck? And it can either be good or bad. But it's probably going to be good, because, it's Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
We all love him.
Yeah.
But it's just weird.
It is weird. And he's the last person I thought would have come back. Because he's been kind of, I don't want to say talking shit, but he's been kind of talking out of the side of his mouth while he was doing promotion for Oppenheimer. It was like, oh man, like things like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get out of the shadow of Iron Man or do something like, and they're like, wait just a damn minute here, Robert Downey Jr.
He said, I'm never going to get out of the Marvel universe. I'm stuck there. It's a time loop. Right. I hate it here. Anyways, guys, here I am again.
How much money? How much money are you going to give me?
Did you say money? Is that a drop in my bank? Thank you.
No. But they also showed some Thunderbolt stuff, and David Harbour dressed up in full Red Guardian cosplay and came out on the mic and was in character, and they did the thing where he comes out and he's talking in character and he sees everyone up on stage and he's like, oh, you guys didn't dress up, you told me we were gonna dress up, and and David Harbour's a national treasure. I don't care what anybody says. Like I
freaking love David Harbour.
He's pretty awesome.
Now I'm trying to look it up.
They showed some. They gave an update on the Batman 2, but not really any footage. I don't think they filmed anything yet. My Adventures with Superman Season 3 stuff. Just kind of generic stuff. Really, the only thing that kind of really is trending right now is Robert Downey Jr. So, yeah, it's wild.
Oh yeah. I'm watching the David Harbour stuff right now of him dressed up. God bless him. Another national treasure up there with Jack Black. I think he belongs there. Absolutely. Dude.
So yeah,
well,
big weekend. I mean, usually we get a lot of stuff from Comic-Con, and I don't think we've really gotten as much as we usually get. So clearly, this was the winner of this year. But usually we get more stuff. I think next year is probably going to be pretty big once we start getting more into the Superman post production, and the DCU is really kind of getting their legs underneath of them, because I'm sure next year is probably going to be the summer of Superman for sure. So we'll see.
Yeah. I saw like a list of like upcoming movies, and someone was absolutely shitting on them in our like group chat, and I was like, dang, no respect. But like I'm sure you're from your daughter, you've heard that Shrek 5 is in the making.
Oh yeah. No, I was the one that told her.
I love that. Got Toy Story 5, Frozen 3. Mike Flanagan is remaking The Exorcist, which I'm super excited about because I love Mike Flanagan. As well as Jordan Peele is coming out with his next movie called Next Film. Interesting. Also, Aang in The Last Airbender?
What?
What?
I didn't see that.
Spielberg's UFO movie? I just like the name of that. UFO movie. Yeah. Aang in The Last Airbender? I haven't heard anything about that.
Aang the Last Airbender. Huh. Oh, this might be the animated deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I knew they were coming. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So this is the new animated movie. Once Nickelodeon Studios bought all the Avatar property, Avatar The Last Airbender property, they opened up Avatar Studios, and the first thing they did was announce basically a sequel movie or series to the original series, basically following the cast as adults, the more adventures that they have.
Oh.
So hopefully that's good.
That would be fun. Nice. Okay.
So
well, I'm excited for that then.
We'll see.
What do you mean we'll see?
I mean,
it says it's like 2026.
Right. Here's the thing with Avatar is I love Avatar. I love that original series a lot. Me and Alice love it. When she watched the series for the first time, I was watching it with her and just beside her, just like, oh God, wait till this happens. Because she was, well, what's going to happen with this? Well, nope, just watch. Just watch. I'm not going to spoil a thing.
Yeah.
Everything that happened, I would just be beside her with a big old grin on my face, super, super happy that it was going on. And every other iteration has been met with mixed reviews. Korra, both live action adaptations, one notably better than the other, but they've all been kind of dubious. And it's weird that you have this thing that I consider a near perfect piece of television, and they can't directly make anything from it where they're like, yes, this is just as good as the original.
Yeah. Okay. So. That's fair. All right.
Well, are you ready to rock?
Yeah.
Are you ready to travel to 1987? Is it 87 or 85? 1987, San Dimas, California. In a telephone booth outside of a Circle K.
I'm ready to steal a bunch of historical public figures, if that's what you're asking.
So this week's movie is none other than Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the movie that shot Keanu Reeves into superstardom and that pretty much solidified this poor man as a stoner surfer dude for the absolute rest of his life. Poor guy. Raven, was this your first time watching this movie?
Sure was.
Oh. So, Raven, let me ask you the question that I ask whenever you haven't seen a movie. What did you think of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
I definitely went into this blind. I honestly don't know if I had ever, I've definitely heard of the movie, but I don't think anyone that I talk with has even really seen it. It was also Chris's first time watching it. So we were both like, okay, well, let's strap in. It's a wild little ride, but it's a good ride. And I definitely enjoy the stupidity of Bill and Ted and their fun little friendship of just being two dumb bros that just want to be in a wannabe band, even though they don't know how to play instruments. And they just air guitar riff the whole time. And they're like, whoa, sick. But I think that their friendship is very cute, even though I'm like, whoa. You guys remind me of some people that I went to high school with that I didn't think were stoners and just thought that they were stupid. But I definitely enjoyed them. I enjoyed all the random side quests that they went on and just stealing people throughout history. Yeah. And of course we'll break all that down, but what did you think about however many times you have seen this movie?
This is one of those movies that I remember watching as a kid, and it absolutely infected the youth of the nation.
I'm sure.
It was part, oh my God, Genghis Khan is so cool, with everybody in the country talking like surfer dudes. Because it was like this and Ninja Turtles hit real close to each other. So when we had oh, rock on, dudes, bro, you had people from the South, from Georgia that were very much like, oh, dude, this is totally cool. Dude became the parlance that, everyone talked. It was the 80s, bruh. But no, I love this movie. I agree with just about everything you said about Bill and Ted, the characters, where their friendship is really great. Them traveling through history to get, to kidnap these characters is super fun. And I think that this movie was actually where I coined the term noble idiots. And what I mean by that is these are just two dudes who are genuinely happy. They're not malicious. They're just dumb. And they're cool with being dumb. They're kind of like himbos, but not really attractive, quote unquote, in that sense. They're just, and they don't do anything mean,
They're just out having a great time.
Right. They're literally just cruising through life from point A to point B. The stakes in this are literally, we have to pass our history exam. That's it. That's the stakes. I mean, supposedly the rest of the world falls apart or whatever. But, the stakes are ultimately we just have to pass our history exam. Which is super low stakes in the grand scheme of things. But these two noble idiots go to medieval England and kidnap Billy the Kid and go meet Socrates and all this other thing. And it's super fun. And I was absolutely one of the kids who was just be like, I am Ted Theodore Logan, Wild Stallions. That was my shit back in the day. I loved it. So
nice.
So
yeah.
I actually want to ask you something because there's a lot of 80s in this movie.
Okay.
Did you know who George Carlin was?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's
Am I
kind of
upsetting
sad.
you? Oh, sorry.
Well, no. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, but he's like, not only is he a great actor, as in this, but he's also a really funny stand-up comedian whose jokes, actually hold up over time and are kind of, relevant today. Which is really weird to think about. But George Carlin was, most famously in the 70s had this bit called the 7 words you can't say on television. And repeatedly said those words in his special, and it was absolutely hilarious. Had another bit about how you can knock down the 10 commandments to just one commandment. It was, he was incredibly vulgar, but he was funny, and for him to show up in a movie like this, where he's playing, the harbinger to the guy to scoot these guys on this mission, he it's kind of a break from the norm, and he did other acting too in Kevin Smith movies. So it was cool seeing him and stuff like this.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I'm looking at his like IMDb, and it's like Bill and Ted's is the first one that he's like known for, and then right after it says Dogma.
Yeah.
We should watch Dogma at some point.
Oh yeah, we should.
Jesus.
He was also in Thomas the Tank Engine. He was the conductor.
I see that quite a bit. That's kind of crazy.
Which is wild when you think a guy who was sitting there just cursing up a storm, was was the conductor. So.
Well, I guess it's like how, like probably people more of like Chris and my generation like see Bob Saget kind of, is that you thought of him as like Danny Tanner and he's this wholesome man, but like he's over there doing his like live stand-up comedy, and he is not Danny Tanner, that is for sure.
Right.
It's like one of those things, yeah.
Which is what's so weird, like Bob Saget in particular. It was so wild because he did 2 like really wholesome gigs simultaneously in the 80s. He was Danny Tanner, and he also hosted the initial run of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
And that was him coming out there in a goofy 80s sweater and all wholesome and be like, huh, boy, that guy sure did get kicked in the genitals real hard. And everyone thought he was this wholesome dude until I think it was Half Baked came out with Dave Chappelle. He had a line in there where he's like, what, marijuana's not that bad? You ever I suck dick for cocaine or something like that. I can't remember the exact line. And I was like, whoa, Danny Tanner, how dare you?
Right. Yeah. That's crazy.
So, man, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start with this movie because we really don't even start, like, the characters are so, like, Bill and Ted are Bill and Ted. I feel like this is like the proto surfer dude in media. Every surfer dude after this was based on these two. Their parents are clearly fucked up, both of them.
Bro. So bad.
Bill's dad is clearly banging some girl who's old enough to be his daughter in his son's room, which is weird and creepy. And then Ted's dad is like, I'm going to send you to military school, and genuinely seems happy about that.
Right?
Like, you clearly don't want to go, but I'm going to send you. This gives me pleasure in life.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me a second to like really realize how old homeboy's stepmom was supposed to be. And then she like goes into the auditorium and she's like, oh, hey, it's me. I was definitely in your class like last year or some shit. Like it's that wild.
Yeah.
It just, that part was like, once I realized what was going on with that, I was like, oh damn, this is pretty funny actually, because like that whole scene of him being like, hey, how about you guys go get some dinner? And then just shuts his own son out of his room.
Right.
Chris and I were like, okay, get it, I guess, but homeboy knows what you're doing in his room. Yuck. I do like that little introduction, though, of, like, the boys being in their history class and basically just being, like, the dumbest idiots ever. And they're like, all right, who is this person? And they're just like, who is Joan of Arc? And it's like, Noah's Ark's wife?
Right.
Just the dumbest stuff. And I just like, you thought that Caesar is a salad dressing dude.
Oh,
like just little stupid stuff like that was cracking me up.
I actually made a note about this when it's like, oh, we've learned so much from your class. He's like, well, what have you learned? He's like, well, we've learned about important people like Genghis Khan. You could tell he's clearly reading
off the
names.
Board, yeah.
And he's like, Socratic method? Like, what? What are you talking about? And I also love that they call Socrates Socrates the entire movie. They were consistent about it, and even he was like he was trying to correct him, and he was like, "No, you're Socrates, dude." And I love
point,
like
he was just like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah, and I love like right before they get the time machine, they're sitting out in front of the Circle K. Oh, jeez, and they're like, "That lady over there in the car says that the Mongols ruled China." I'm like, are you just walking up to random people in a Circle K parking lot asking them history questions?
Homegirl was literally walking into her shift. She's like, I don't know. I just work here. And they're like, ugh. Can't believe that woman wouldn't know. Bro, if you asked me anything from history, I would just give you like 1,000-yard stare, because I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm sorry. No.
It's like
I was so bad at history. I was probably as dumb as these two.
History was always one of my worst subjects. That and, like civics and government and things like that.
Yeah.
But the history stuff, as I've gotten older, to me is very much like, I can tell where my hyper focus was on things throughout the years. It was like, oh, this is cool. Let me check on this. And then I'll look at it and read something. And I'm like, cool. I know this very surface level knowledge of this one particular thing in case I ever need to pull it out at a party and be like, nope, you guys are wrong. This is what happened.
Oh my God. That's like, bro, I swear that's a Holland thing. Chris does that stuff. Where I'm just like, why do you have knowledge on this random subject? And he's just like, it's so cool.
Yep. Or I have like, very niche pop culture moments. Like I'm just waiting for the moment when someone doesn't know why there was two tin men in the original Wizard of Oz. Like, what do you mean there was two different actors? Well, let me tell you why there was two different actors. Because the first one almost died.
Dude, there was way too many, like, close calls of death on that, just, like, whole movie cast. Wasn't it, like, the witch? Yeah, when the witch is, like, flying over on her little broom. Like, that woman almost died. And also, that green paint was causing toxins to her. And her stunt double.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck that movie. It's iconic, but, like, bro, those
almost
poor people.
Everything was terrible in that movie. I mean, they made Judy Garland take caffeine pills and smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. It was wild.
Maybe I should get on that diet. That's how I'm going to start, like, really up in my grooms. Is I'm just going to be, like, cracked out on caffeine pills and
Man,
I need a fucking cigarette while I over here shaving down this Yorkie.
I don't know if you've ever seen. Did you ever watch Saved by the Bell?
I know I've watched parts of it. Chris was rewatching it like a few years ago, and so I might have watched some of it.
Did you ever see the episode where Jessie got hooked on caffeine pills as she was getting ready for a test? Oh my God. Oh my god. Oh, that's such a classic one. So Jessie gets strung out, and she's acting all crazy and stuff. And we got to fit this in like a 30-minute, a 22-minute time frame. And Zach finds the pills in her backpack, and she's like, "No, I'm just taking them. I'm just taking them. Oh, look at
God.
me. Look how cool I am." And she starts like going crazy, and she's like, "Look at me. I'm fine. I'm so excited." She's like, "I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared." And it was like the greatest after school moment in Saved by the Bell history. Like, she starts crying, "I'm so scared, Zach." Oh, starts crying. And it is hilarious, iconic, and tragically sad at the same time. This show never got nominated for an Emmy.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah. Dang. Yeah, no, that sounds great. That sounds like every kid needed to see that and be like, yeah, that's how it feels to be us. Parents don't get it. Ugh.
Oh, let's see. Let's when they start time traveling, man, I love that Billy the Kid fell in line with this group of people just incredibly quick. Billy was like, "Yep, let's go," and is immediately like, "Where are we at, dudes?" Like, what, Billy? What are you talking about?
Dude, he loved those boys. And
right.
You can just freaking tell. And then as soon as Socrates comes into it, and like Billy the Kid and Socrates are like besties for the rest of the movie. Which was like so hilarious because obviously Socrates doesn't speak a single bit of English, but at some point he's like catching on to like some of the lingo, and he like calls people like geeks and shit. And I was just like,
I think
who taught you this?
As the kids say today, real recognizes real.
My God.
They were absolutely BFFs, and in a different world, we would have got a Billy the Kid Socrates movie, which is the buddy comedy that I want.
That would be wild. I also wouldn't mind just having a weird little movie of Napoleon just doing things in like today's time and just like fucking around and being like, "No, fuck you, kid. I get the last bite of ice cream. You're going to get out of my way. I get to go down the water slide." That is like, dude, just seeing some of those scenes of those water slides, they looked unsafe as hell.
It was the 80s, man. We didn't care about no
They
damn
didn't give a single
stuff.
shit. They said, "Are you having fun? That's all it's about. Thanks." One lady walked in with 11 kids. "Ma'am, how are you going to watch all those things?" Absolutely not.
How are you going to watch those things?
Dude, freaking, they look like, preteens, so they're ready to run rampant. Let's be real. You can't keep an eye on, like, this little group of gremlins.
Well, see, what's so wild is, like, back in the 80s, you could afford to bring 11 kids to a water park. I guarantee that ticket right now, if she would have spent for 11 kids to come to the water park, that would have been $1,000 easy.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's awful.
Oh. When they are in medieval times and they see the princesses for the first time, and they're like, "Oh my God, they're so beautiful." And it's like, Ted goes, "Bill, those are historical babes." Just little quips like that.
I loved it so much.
You killed Ted, you medieval dickweed. Just chock full of just quotable lines. This movie's fantastic. It's great. It's great because the stakes are so super low, and we're on this just wild ass adventure. It's man.
Okay, you keep saying that the stakes are super low, but if these boys hadn't passed their history exam, life as we know it in 2000 whatever, we wouldn't have the world's greatest rock band where they like do weird air guitar, and that's just everyone's symbol to know. That like part where they like go into the futuristic part, and the three dudes that are sitting up on the like little area. I don't even know what the heck they were sitting on. And they just like do the weird little slow, like extreme air riff guitar, and then all the other people walk out and they start doing it. That was a cult. 100%. Bill and Ted absolutely started a cult, and like somehow it came out just through their music.
I want to know.
It's like Jared Leto.
I thought it would have been cool if they would have had like the rock and roll gods of the time on that chair. You know, like they were talking about Eddie Van Halen in the beginning, like, oh, we got to get Van Halen to be in our band, but we got to make a video. You know,
yeah. Or like Iron Maiden, and they were like, "Whoa, Iron Maiden!"
Right.
And then they were going to get their head chopped off.
I think it would have been super cool if they would have had like Van Halen and probably at the time like one of the guys from Metallica, or you know, like that sitting on that throne, and just never, they would have been like, we don't know who those, like, we clearly don't know who those guys are. Put them in a mask, do something, you know.
Yeah.
And a little piece of trivia here about Eddie Van Halen is after the film was released, he said that if he would have joined their band if they would have asked. So he absolutely would have done a cameo in that movie if they just would have asked him.
Damn it. So. That could have been good. All right. So out of all the people that come back, you got Napoleon, Billy the Kid, Socrates, Sigmund Freud, Mozart, Joan of Arc, Genghis Khan, and Lincoln. Which one of them are you most excited to show off at your history presentation?
It is a toss-up between Joan of Arc and Genghis Khan. Because Genghis Khan is flashy, and he does the twisty twirls and stuff like that. Same thing with Joan of Arc. So she, like, both of them two. Like, Billy the Kid was kind of cool, and Socrates was cool. Freud was like, there.
Dude, I just loved Freud being up there, and they had that, like, little couch thing. And he's basically over here being like, yeah, Ted's really fucked up, and it's mostly because of his dad. And his dad's just, like, standing back there.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah. That's my man right there. I want to have the stupidest conversation where he asks me questions. But like, with these two, I can imagine, like, them saying, like, the dumbest shit. And at some point, he's just like, bro, I don't even think I can do this.
Well, I mean, Bill just noped right out. He was like, you want to sit down? He's like, nope. He's like, nope, I clearly got like a mild Oedipus complex.
Right.
You know, which was probably the smartest thing that this man said the entire film. I'm like, yeah. How do you know what the hell that is?
Dude, he's been learning.
And then
he was learning that whole day.
And then we cut back to Missy. I mean, Mom, which was really weird.
Dude, the fact that, like, she was like, you have to call me Mom is, like, the worst part.
Right.
I get it. I get the bit, and the bit was kind of funny. But, like, nah.
So, I mentioned that Bill's saying something smart. I think the other, like, really kind of smartest piece of writing that completely went under the radar was that, where are we going to find Napoleon? And we find him at Waterloo, a water park. Of course. I was like, oh, damn it. That's such a good line. That's such a good place, name, joke, however you want to call it. That is absolutely perfect. Oh.
Yeah.
And when Napoleon was in the water park, did you notice that his butt was very prominently showing through that white onesie?
Okay, it's because he was basically wearing, like, linen or some shit. And I was like, as soon as he started to get up there, I was like, what the fuck is he wearing? Because that is going to show way too much at a kid's water park. And I'm surprised some parent wasn't like, yo, this pervert's over here running around with kids showing his ass. But it kind of cracked me up because I'm like, well, yeah, he doesn't understand, like, this time period's, like, swimsuit. So, like, yeah, it's going to look a little weird. But where did he get that from? Did you just pull that from, like, the back? Like, or is this his underwear? Is that what it is? Is it his undergarments?
Yes.
I'm crazy that I didn't think of that until just now. Bro, I thought I was cooking.
But in real life, real life, the actor, like, was he wearing like a jockstrap or something? Because his butt is clearly out, and we never got a decent shot to see if his bits and pieces were just like flapping in the wind as he was going down the slide.
Bro, he must have. Yeah, he had to be wearing something under there, because like running around on set with a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
I feel like that is an absolute, like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that, guys. Let's keep it a little. What is this movie even rated?
Hold on.
No.
I'll let you know. It is PG.
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 That's kind of crazy. All right. I would have thought it was a little PG-13. Just some of this language itself.
Well, this was the early days of PG-13 because...
That's crazy.
You know, they were kind of like, we don't really know what we're going to do with PG-13 yet. So
yeah.
A lot of things around this time that probably should have been PG-13 just still fell in that PG realm.
It looks like a fun kids movie. I'm going to let my kids watch it at their sleepover. And then you got them saying, like, dickweed and shit like that.
The one aspect of this movie that I didn't like, and this is not just a Bill and Ted thing, this is all time travel movies. Whenever we get into we're gonna do this and set it up for later, and then when we get to the thing, here's the thing, and because that's when time travel starts getting really messy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, but you know, you start thinking about, well, if you didn't get the stuff, then you know, if you didn't get your friends out of jail, then you didn't pass your report. So, you know, that clearly has an effect. So now you're back. And it's weird. You start overthinking the whole thing. And I noticed someone commented on our YouTube video of last week's podcast about how the DeLorean time travels and does this and that, and the DeLorean would cease to exist. And technically, you're right. But there comes a point with all time travel movies, no matter how good, that you have to shut your brain off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So. I was listening to a podcast this week, and they were basically talking about, like, the same thing of, like, well, how does this work if you're, like, basically traveling through space, but, like, you end up, I don't even remember, it was, like, something, it was the experiment that was basically from Stranger Things, where they were, like, trying to do, like, the weird, you can, like, talk to other people or, like, move things with your brain, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they were, like, sitting in a chair, and then they would be out of the chair doing something, but then somehow they would get back in the chair. And it was like, people were like, I don't understand this whole concept, which is fair. Because, like, time travel, to, like, think about it and have to, like, really explain it is such a weird, crazy concept. Because, obviously, there's so many things that could go wrong. Meanwhile, Bill, like, broke off a thing from the time, like, the little wiry thing, and they just chewed a bunch of gum.
Yeah.
Stuck it back on and put some tin cans on there too to conduct electricity. And it's like, how does this work? Doesn't the gum kind of, it's kind of like rubber. So like, that doesn't, I don't know. I don't know the whole science of all that because I'm not a scientist, in case you guys didn't know. I have not studied science a day in my life. Thank you.
What?
Not even in school. That's why I'm a dog groomer. I did really enjoy like the weird little mall scene where they're like, okay, we're going up the escalator. Watch your step. Socrates, pick up your rube so you don't fall and get stuck in the escalator. And I love that, of course, that's still a thing of like, oh no, you can totally get sucked into the escalator. And then they just sit them down with ices and they're like, we'll be right back. How are you going to leave a bunch of people there? And they just like, they have no idea what's happening. They're like, whoa, this is crazy. Things are flashing. There's beautiful people. We got to go fuck around and find out.
You know, I've often wondered, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit last week when we were talking time travel and Back to the Future. Like, what is this new world that these people, like, even Billy the Kid is probably like, well, I guess maybe Sigmund Freud, but like, even them being the closest that they are to like modern day times, what do people like Joan of Arc comes into 20th century America, sees all the flashing lights, like I can imagine this is just, it has to be sensory overload. You know what I'm saying? Like
when they did the like Genghis Khan part, literally the like people around were like frantically throwing themselves like to like cover their eyes, because I can't imagine how awful that would have seemed to be like, this is literally like lightning in your face.
Right.
Like that's probably what they thought it was. Magical lightning that brought weird people with weird clothing. That's another thing. You go back in time and you're wearing the outfits that these boys are wearing.
Yeah.
And people are just like, yo, they look cool.
Yeah. I've always
these
wondered,
crazy styles.
I've always thought it would be funny to take like a current day smartphone back in time with like videos or something on it and just take it back to like the 50s. Be like, look at this. This is what our technology is. 60, 70 years in the future. Look at this. And it's got to be absolutely mind-blowing to be like, what do you mean you can just look up anything? You don't have to go to a library. You don't have to do this. What do you mean you can listen to any song ever made?
You don't even have to like pay per call. And you can call anytime, any day, as long as like most people have internet Wi-Fi. You can contact anyone around the world.
Right.
Like that's insane to think about, for them to be like, I had to dial the operator and ask to call so-and-so 2 blocks over.
Right.
To see if my kid was dead or alive at their house.
Yep.
Insane.
I want to talk about Joan of Arc getting involved in that aerobics class.
She was getting it.
Yes, she was. My girl has got the cardio game on lock. I can't even imagine how many times they had to film that scene, but that actress, she had to have been Jane Wiedlin. Yeah, we'll say Wiedlin. Jane Wiedlin is the actress who played Joan of Arc. She had to have been just like, I have to get ready for this scene. just let me sit here and do cardio for 8 hours a day getting ready for this. So wild to me.
Dude, we need to bring back like crazy aerobics like that. Like actual classes of aerobics.
Oh,
it's not the same.
Dude, they got them, man.
Do they?
Yes.
I know that. Dude, everywhere I look, it's like Here's yoga. Here's Pilates.
Oh,
Here's maybe a few Zumba classes.
oh no! What you need to find is you need to find a like small independent gym, like not like your big chain ones where you might could find them anywhere you go. So no Planet Fitness, no Crunch, no nothing like that. We have a couple like kind of local independent gyms around here in my town, and they do like the hip hop aerobics class where
Ooh,
where like the person who is running the class is like your hype man while high energy rap music is playing. And it's like, yeah, get up. Oh, step on that. Oh, ah, oh. And it is just the absolute wildest thing. Uh, and find you a spin class. If you find a good spin class, I went to a spin class and thought I was just going to sit there and just pedal for an hour.
no, those are so
No.
insane.
I
And then by the
realized,
time you're done, your legs are literally like noodles.
man, there were ladies in there who were a bit on the chunky side who was running on them bikes. I was like, what in the hell is it going on? So
Dude,
yeah, look around, man. You can find them. They're out there for sure.
looking for my local aerobics here in Knoxville. Hit me up. Thank you.
So I got so caught up watching this movie that I didn't even take notes during the final presentation scene because I was just vibing it. I was just like,
Same.
this is great. First off, how long was their presentation? Because it's the end of the day. The kids are like, yeah, we get to go home early. And all of a sudden, like, this thing starts. And it appears like this is probably like a 20-minute long presentation. At least. We got to get through, like, how many people? 9?
Yeah.
Wild.
It's quite a bit.
Um,
And there's light show. There's crazy, like, music
who was
and
their
stuff
sound
going
and
on.
light man?
Don't worry about it.
They clearly didn't plan anything because, like, 5 minutes ago, they were at the mall.
Yeah, that's why Mom drove us there.
So,
I love
yeah,
that bit.
like, it was so wild to me. And everyone's like, yeah, all right, Bill and Ted. Again, noble idiots. No one's mad at them. They come out there, they come on last, they put on a heck of a show. You know, everyone's just like, this is great.
Yeah.
So,
It's also not like we really got a big picture of them at school. So, like, you don't know if people actually like them. You don't know if, like, people are like, they're just the freaking stoner idiots that don't ever know what's going on in life. But then they get on stage and everyone's like, oh, heck yeah, it's our boys. Let's do it. They're going to give the craziest, wildest presentation of our life. And everyone is sitting there so, like, when the beat's high, everyone's going for it. And then when Sigmund Freud comes out there, they're like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, he's really getting into the homeboy's brain. And then freaking Lincoln comes out there.
so here's a little bit of trivia that I found about this movie was that originally the characters were supposed to be like these 14-year-olds, kind of annoying, you know, they were just supposed to be like little brats.
Yeah.
And when they cast Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, they liked them so much. They were such good guys. They were like, no one's going to believe that these two were jerks, you know? Plus, they were also older, too, so they kind of had to age them up. But they're like, yeah, no one's going to believe that these guys are jerks. So that changed them to be the noble idiots that they ended up being.
Oh, well, I like that. Good. I'm glad they weren't, like, jerks in this movie because, like, the vibe would have been so off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad they didn't do another thing that was originally intended where they would go and, for the lack of a better term, kind of Forrest Gump history, where they were going to go back in time and just be a part of certain historical moments and be like, yeah, they had a hand in this and a hand in this, but no one ever knew because they were only there for like 30 seconds. I'm glad they didn't do that.
I
that
was curious if that was going to happen because especially when they were like over there with the um historical babes, like they're going around doing a lot of things. And I was like, is this going to like fuck up some stuff? Especially when they bring the girls back. And it's just like, all right, they're going to be part of your band now. Those girls are not going back. How do you explain that in time? What is happening here?
well, I mean,
Or is it just like we just brought them back and so like now history is like crazy? I don't know.
say you just got to shut your brain off.
It's okay. My brain's like on autopilot most of the time anyway, so it's not really working.
Oh man! All right, well that wraps up what I got to say about Bill and Ted. You got anything else? No, Sasha. She heard me making air guitar sounds and she looked at me really concerned.
Dude, Mudslide is literally laid up right on me with a blanket on him, and he didn't even give a single shit. That's how much like stupid stuff that I do around here that he's like, I don't care.
Dude, Sasha.
Unless I say his favorite words, couldn't care.
Dude, Sasha has been so needy this week. She'll just come in here and sit in the room and just whine and look at me, and I'm like, what do you want? And
I want everything.
She wants everything. She wants all of my attention. Yeah. So, anyway, let's move on to my favorite part of the week. Let's talk about the things that we are thankful for this week. Little things, big things, all things in between. Raven, what has made you happy this week?
You know what's crazy is I didn't even think of anything this week. So, I don't know. I guess, life just happens. Life goes on. We do our things. We hang out with our friends, our dogs. I'm real excited for next week, and I'm just gearing up for that. That's what's really, pumping me up, is that I know that I'm going to a really good concert next weekend. And so, that's the only thing getting me through. I promise you. And
what concert you going to?
I am once again seeing Young the Giant. This will be like my 5th time seeing them, but I'm seeing Cage the Elephant for the first time, and I'm really excited.
That sounds super fun.
Do you know both of those bands?
I do.
Good. I'm excited that you know them, though. Because when I first, booked the tickets for Chris and me to go, and then my best friend, her husband, and then her younger sister, all 5 of us are going to go. And it's in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we're going to be
holy crap,
hanging out for the weekend. Yeah, it's an 8-hour drive. So once I get off work on Friday, we're going to zip zoop. But, yeah, Chris was like, I haven't seen Cage the Elephant. He was like, we kind of like their, beginning music. And then they just, change it up per album. And I kind of like that about Cage the Elephant, that it's just, every time they make a new album, things are just kind of drastically different, but you can still get some of the same vibe in some of the songs. And I really like that about their music. And Young the Giant is my favorite artist, so I'm just super jazzed. I'm sitting there vibrating it's gonna be soon. I'm basically what Amy is. Just every day. Just excited.
That's wild.
Thinking about being Amy excited.
I'm just concerned you guys are driving. How long did you say the trip was?
It's only 8 hours to drive there. It's cool.
Jeez.
It's going to be a fun weekend. Hey, man. I do things like this where I'm just whatever. Could I have seen him in Atlanta? Yeah, but it wasn't on a day that would have worked for me. And that's the biggest thing that I have to worry about.
Yeah.
Because it has to be a weekend, and Chris's schedule after this week is going to go back to flip-flopping around, so we're just spending our last little bit of his time of having a stable schedule and whatnot, just having a good time. So yeah, that's what's been jazzy for me. What's been jazzing for you?
I'm going to tell you a story.
All right, let me sit down.
I sent Alice a picture that I pulled off of Twitter that said 13 Brazilian sharks were discovered with cocaine in them.
Sweet.
And I took that picture off of Twitter. I sent it to Alice and said, Brazilian ain't even a real number.
God damn it.
Now, I thought that was a fantastic dad joke. So then the first thing she sends is OMG. And I'm like, cool. She gets it. It's dumb. And then she goes, wait. I think it means 13 sharks from Brazil have cocaine. So I stop. I set my phone down and I start laughing.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I am like, it's wild. So I send her like a meme of like someone looking at her, like giving her the look like, are you serious? And I'm like, I can't tell if you're serious or not. She's like, I don't understand. I was like, did you really mean to explain this joke or are you just goofing with me? And she goes, yeah, you thought it was a typo, but you just read it wrong.
Aww,
and I'm like,
bless
oh,
her.
kid. I'm like, no, I didn't read it wrong. That's the joke. It's 13 Brazilian. Like, it's a lot. It's a big number. And then I followed that up with, I said, but what makes the sharks Brazilian if they can swim anywhere they want? Is it how they get waxed? Boom. Bam.
Bro. Please tell me she got that one at least.
Crickets. Not another word.
Oh.
I was so proud of myself. And credit where credit's due, that came from my buddy Jason at work. And I was just, I was laughing so hard, I was crying at work.
Oh, I can imagine you were.
Hilarious to me. So,
oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the kind of stuff that I do to my grandparents. Like, I'm really sarcastic. And a lot of the times that I'll say something to my grandmother, especially if it has like a little bit of sarcasm or something, it goes so over her head and she like gets confused about it. Or I'll send like some little like meme and she's like, I don't get it. While everyone else is like hysterically laughing because it's the fact that this woman does not get the joke. And I'll like send something to my grandfather and he'll just like either not respond or he'll be like, cool. Like the driest answer ever. But this man loves to pull like pranks and say stupid shit like that. Where he'll be like, Chris's favorite bit that my grandfather did, and we still like quote it all the time, is like we were sitting at a family dinner and like I think my father and his wife and my brother and sister were like there too. So my grandfather was like, hey Devin, which is my brother, do you want some Sprite? We got some Sprite downstairs. And Devin's like, no grandpa, I'm good, I have my water, thank you though. And so he just keeps going at it. He's like, hey, do you know we have some Sprite downstairs? And Chris is just like sitting there next to me like, oh, because my grandfather's going to persistently do it because he wants to get under people's skin. But because we have grown up with this man doing it forever, we do not care in the way that he wants. But he can easily do it to my grandmother where he'll say something like that. But he just kept being like, we got some Sprite downstairs if you want some. I think there's some Sprite in the fridge. I didn't know if you wanted any, but if you want to go downstairs and check, I think we have Sprite in the fridge. No, Grandpa, I'm okay. Do you need some Sprite? Do you need a drink? We've got Sprite. you can get some ice and a cup to go with your Sprite. And like just kept going on. And Chris was like in tears because it just like kills him to hear it. Because he thinks it's so funny that my brother's just not going to bust on it. Or if he had done it to my grandmother, she would have been like, would you stop? Anyways, that's where my stupid sense of humor comes from. Thank you. So anytime you tell me about your stupid dad jokes, most of them kill me because I'm just like, God. Especially when your kids don't get it. Best.
It is truly one of the great things of being a dad is just to be like, hey, I'm about to say some dumb shit. Get ready. Waka waka.
Not the waka waka.
I got to hit her with nothing brings me joy more than knocking the wind out of their sails when they come up to me with what is going to be a dad joke, and I'm like, no, not in this house. You don't get to steal my thunder. Alice sent me something today. She goes, what song is 45 Cent? And I said, I immediately knew. I
with
said,
a Nickelback.
Right.
Yeah.
I said any 50 Cent song with Nickelback. And, waka waka. She replies back, bro. And so I took this opportunity. I said, oh, sorry. You see, the rapper's name is 50 Cent, and there's another band from Canada called Nickelback. See, the joke is that if they ever did a collab together, it would be a 45 Cent song because they both have money for names. And she goes, right? But the song would be priceless.
I'm like having to cover my mouth. I'm laughing so hard. Mark, stop.
This is what I live with.
You got the tears coming out of me. That was so... I just love that you hit her with the facts.
Oh, jeez. All right.
That's the best part.
Raven, tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
You can find me over on Twitter at spooky_Raven or on Instagram at That's a Raven Ellis. We also have a podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Nerd for No Reason. But you can also find social media accounts linked to Nerd for No Reason. If you like it, if you want it, you can follow. You can say stuff. Blow us a little kiss. I don't know. Mark, what about you? Where are you at on the socials?
You can find me on all the socials. Well, not all of them. You can find me on most of the socials at Turtles Do It. Just hit me up. I'm there. I love you guys. I can't wait to talk to you. Unless you're a scammer bot, because I had one call me the other day, get up on my Instagram, and usually I can spot a fake Instagram account. And this person, I will say, they pulled the old okey doke on me. I thought it was someone who discovered the show and then decided to follow me on Instagram. And hold on, I'm gonna pull this up because I want you guys to follow along on this journey with me.
Oh God!
So I was like, all right, cool. And they followed and whatever, and I don't really post a lot of stuff on Instagram or socials for that matter, period, just because I feel like I don't really have that much to say. But anyway, so this person, probably about 30 minutes after, they start following me, hi, how are you doing? Or, hi, Mark. And I'm like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, are you a listener of the podcast? And they go, I'm Chloe, and yes, I love listening to your podcast. They are so informative and entertaining. And I was like, no one speaks that way. First off, we are not informative. I hope we're entertaining, but sometimes that's questionable at best. I've always had a huge crush on you, whatever emoji this was, and I just came across your page today, and I decided I should text. And
dude, those are always the best.
The profile picture or the profile of this girl on Instagram was like, oh, I'm in the Army, and her photo is like her in her Army uniform and stuff. And I was like, all right, well, let's see how much of it is fake, you know? So I said, cool, were we stationed together in Kansas? And she was like, stationed together? No, I've never been stationed to Texas. And I was like, cool, 100% scammer. Nice. And then they said the first time I came across your podcast was November 7th in 2022. And I was like, that's oddly specific. And I was like, that's really close to when we launched. Did they like just pick the day that we launched? No, that was our second full-length episode that came out.
That's crazy.
So I was like, okay. So about this time, like, I'm leaving work and I hop in my truck, and as I'm driving, this person calls me via Instagram. And I'm like, nope. Dismiss. Plus, also, I'm driving. I ain't ready for this right now. And then calls me again like 15 minutes later. And I'm like, do not call or you are going to be blocked. Like, this is like, I do not know you. It's like, oh, I see. And I'm like, I don't think you are who you say you are. Oh, I see. Well, I'll just let you be then. And then that was the end of it. So don't be a scammer. Like, it would have been cool. Like, but, and then they had to call. And I'm like, no, that's not how this game works. Like, don't be a creeper, dude.
Dude, that's so funny.
Yeah. So, with all of that, be safe out there, kids, and go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go ingest all the rarest, coolest, newest medias, and we'll see you again next week on the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Sasha, come here. Come here. Speak.
Oh, woo.
Speak. Say bye. Bye. Speak. Good girl. Thank you for listening to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. You can find us on all major social media platforms at Nerd for No Reason. Our podcast music is Memories in 8-Bit by Deanna Joan, a.k.a. Fergie's Human. You can follow her on Twitter at Deanna Joan Music and check out her other social media links in the show notes of our podcast.